All right, we're live. What's up, guys? Episode 139, as if it matters at this point. Just that little something I've been building on top of the book. I have a chapter in my book on why I think every man should own a motorcycle. This isn't this podcast today. I want to talk about cars, one of my favorite things. Kind of a little nod off to Salamandrian from back in the day. He used to do these, let's talk about cars, yo, rips. So I figured I'd dive down the automotive rabbit hole with you boys because it's a manly topic. It's for the guys, and cars are fucking awesome. I got some cool stuff actually lined up. I wanted to review on this one because I'm closing in on closing the deal on my RS Spider right now, and just super excited and stoked to bring this thing into the garage. But before we get started on that, just very quickly, guys, if you can, for the algos, give it a thumbs up, and let's engage down the rabbit hole. Also, if you want to support the channel, YouTube keeps telling me to mention the memberships. Helps drive it up in the algorithms for like $1. I think it's 99 cents is lowest tier. You guys can participate in the live chat, and anything that's in there catches my eye, I'll throw it up on the screen. So let's start with Howk TUA before I get into the car stuff, because everyone's been bugging me to do something to respond to it and provide a little reaction to it. Be honest with you, it's kind of old news. So let's put Howk TUA up on the screen in case you're been living under a rock and don't know what that is. I know my clips editor wants this. Add to stage, and it's a very short clip. Won't take long.
You gotta give him that Howk TUA and spit on that thing. You get me?
All right, so this chick went totally viral for that little 2.5 second set of lyrics. It's not new, guys. Howk TUA has been around for a long time. I'm a product of the 70s, and when I was a young man, Howk TUA was the thing. The only reason why this chick is going viral, the only reason why there's so many people commenting on it, and by the way, she lost her job. She was a primary school teacher. She got canned. And there's all kinds of people talking out there about, oh, you know, we need to get her rehired, and let's raise a GoFundMe and buy the school and fire her boss and rehire her. All this nonsense. Like, who freaking cares? I mean, listen, if you're a preschool teacher and you're going to be running around the streets behaving like you're trash and they fire you because you're around children all day, I really don't blame them. It's just a stupid choice. But guys, Howk TUA is not new. It's been around for a long time. Trust me. It's just she got picked up because she's funny as shit the way that she does it, and that's what the internet wants. It wants red meat. It wants that 3 seconds of a scroll that they can blow up and throw all over the internet, and that's all it is. Howk TUA ain't nothing special. It ain't nothing new. It's just it happened to come from I don't know, a reasonably attractive young woman that said it in a sarcastic and comedic way on a microphone of all things. So you wanted the reaction to it. There you go. You got it. Let's move on to the car stuff, because a number of years ago, I did a video on the Entrepreneurs in Cars channel, which was titled 7 Cars That Will Go Up in Value. And I want to talk as much about, more specifically, these 7 cars, but just cars in general in a moment, and what they mean for men, as the Unplugged Alpha would state. Let me see here. Present, share screen. So let's see how correct I was. I queued up today's version of the same vehicles that I made mention of 7 years ago, and we'll see which ones I knocked out of the park and which ones I got absolutely wrong. But let's throw these up over here. So let's put it up over here like this. This is back in the day when I was doing some voiceover stuff on some screens, and I think I was doing this one from the office, if I'm not mistaken. It was just an early morning for me, and I wanted to pick a bunch of cars that I thought at the time 7 years ago that would be more valuable in the future. And I think 7 years is a fair enough span of time that'll give you an idea of whether or not you're right or wrong. So the first one that I was talking about here was Mini Cooper John Cooper Works GP, which I thought was a cool car. I've always been a big fan of hot hatches. It's what I drove when I was a young man. I had a Suzuki Swift GTI, which, funnily enough, I broke the front suspension where it connected to the frame I think because of rot more than anything, but also because of hard driving. And there was this one turn that I used to take coming off the ramp, coming home from work, when I was a salaried guy, a job sort of guy, just over broke. And I would grab the top of the steering wheel, and you could literally throw this car like 90 degrees. Like, so you take the top of the steering wheel and you throw it like this. It would cock up on the front wheel. The back rear inside tire would lift up off the ground, and you just hammer the fucking corner. And I remember one day the mount where the suspension, I think they're called wishbones, mounted to the frame actually snapped. Like, I heard a loud bang, and the fucking thing like almost flipped. But anyway, that being said, I've always liked hot hatches. A good friend of mine took me out on a track day 7 years ago in his mini John Cooper Works GP, and I thought it was a really cool car. And the very low production numbers around the world, I think there was only 50 produced in Canada. It says over here in this listing, there's only 2,000 in the whole world, which might seem like a lot, but in the grand scheme of car production numbers, it's really not that much. So around this time, they were going for $40,000 to $50,000, let's call it, depending on kilometers and year. So 40 to 50 grand. They are going for today. Let me see if I can pull up the listing. Oh, I think I closed that one. Let me open up a new window here. We'll do this in real time. You'll see how accurate your boy is, or how inaccurate I am when it comes to this kind of shit. Remove. Why doesn't StreamYard let me just open a tab and share that? Can I do window? Is it tab or just window? No, Chrome tab. I guess I'm just going to have to sort of scroll between them. Okay, so we got Lambo. We're not doing Lambos right now. Let's do this mini model. I don't know. We'll call it a 3-door, I suppose. Trim, John Cooper Works. And yeah, we'll just skip the year for now. Oh, your boy was wrong about the John Cooper Works. Your boy was so wrong about that one. Why isn't it? Okay, there we go. Share. All right. So they were going for, at the time in this video, again, 38 to 50,000. Today, they're only showing 2019s for some reason. It was a 2013 that I had driven at that time. And it looks like is this set to national? Yeah, this is all there is available in Canada. 28,000, 27,000. So that's a big L for me. This one here is brand new. It's only got 2,000 kilometers, so I wouldn't look at that one. So let's call that a big L. I was totally wrong about that car. It's good thing I didn't pick one up. Let's close that window. And what was the next one on this roster that we had over here? It's probably BMW or Porsche or something. John Cooper Works. John Cooper Works. All right, so we've got M3. This is when YouTube gives you like auto chapters, but they're not accurate. This is M3 M Coupe. What are we getting here? M3 M Coupe. Okay, so let's do the M Roadster, because that's always been a favorite. Here's a nice one on the screen at that time, 7 years ago. 33,000, 42,000 kilometers. A Mola red, which is a fantastic color. That was the color that my M3 was in. Somebody was asking in the comments earlier here. Nick here says, wish these weren't. Okay, he's Australian. How did you enjoy your E46 M3? I enjoyed the E46 I own, but it took a step into a Porsche as a fun weekender. I really like the E46 M3. Mine was a Mola red, just stunning, stunning color when it's clean. I had it on BBS LM wheels. It was just sick. Let me see over here. So actually here, I can show you a picture real quick, because I was talking to the generals about cars the other night. I should still have it in the feed, not too far up here. If I go, yeah, that's it right there. So come on, computer, cooperate. Share screen, present. No, you don't want to cooperate, huh? Can I pull that one up? No, it's in a signal chat. It's not letting me pull it up for some reason. Maybe I need to download it. Let's do it this way. Download, desktop, save, because it was pretty sick. Close that. Close this. And cooperate. And where is it? Desktop. Motorcycles, R8s. Looks like my desktop needs a little bit of a cleanup. Well, let's try downloads. So the download folder. Come on. Come on. For crying out loud. I'm going to be at this for 2 or 3 more minutes. You know what? I'm going to skip it. You'll probably find it on my Instagram feed. I'm pretty sure I posted a picture recently in the last year. All right. Anyway, cancel that. Okay. So let's do the M Roadster because this one I was right on, I think. Share, present. And Z4. So in the video, the screen capture at the time, we had a 42,000 kilometer car, 2006, 33,000 kilometers. We had an M Coupe for $30,000. And today, as I go over here on this search, let's go mileage a little bit on the lower end. Let's call it 60,000 max because you want something that's collector's worthy. $79,000. You could have bought this car 7 years ago for 30 grand. You would have more than doubled your money. Another M Coupe. That's the same car, same listing. Yeah. That's 3.0. Those don't count. This is another M Coupe collector grade, 6,000 kilometers. Shit, $85,000. Nice. And here's another one. This is also collector grade. Ooh, shit. Maybe I should buy this one. It's only got 6,000 kilometers. 75 grand. That's a beautiful color right there. You could have bought that car 7 years ago for 30 grand. So I was right about that. But that's a collector grade car. Like that's a low K, leather's in probably immaculate condition. 6,000 kilometers on a car like that. That's a 2004 to 6 generation. Serious opportunity there. That one would have been a good buy. All right, so let's close that window. I'm actually going to save that to my garage. Keep an eye on that one. Might grab that later. Okay, so let's go back to the video. 7 cars that'll go back in value. There we are. Okay, so we had the M3 also on this list. So let's scroll it up as well. So this is the E46 M3. Let's see if there's some collector grade ones here. The closest we have on the screen is a $22,000 one 7 years ago for $41K. And then we also have the US Auto Trader here, which I pulled at the same time, which is really where you want to go to get the collector grade E46 M3s. 11,000 miles, 26,000 miles for 50 to 60,000 USD. So let's see where these are at today. On the Canadian Auto Trader, oh shit, 105,000. Dude, would have been a good buy. Would have been a good buy. So this one here is definitely collector grade. It's only got 32,000 kilometers, which is reasonably low for 2006 vehicle. 105 grand. These things were selling for, again, 30 to 40,000 dollars for a regular car. For a collector grade, like 11,000 miles in the US, 59,000 USD. Today, they're going to cost you over 100 grand. That's Canadian dollars. Is that collector grade? 58,000, 70 grand. It's a convertible. The convertibles weren't as desirable to hold over the long term. They're nice cars. I used to have one. But the coupes are where it's at. If you want a collector grade car, it's going to appreciate in value. So I knocked that one out of the park, man, because that would have been a great buy. Let me just go to the US site as well, because I have that queued up as well too. Present and share screen. I'll keep an eye on the chat in a minute, guys. I'm just going to come back to that. I just want to go through all of these over here, see where I was right and wrong. I fucked up on the first car. That Mini would have cost money. Okay, so these should be, if I did this correctly, did I select for low miles, under 60,000 miles? Yeah. So let's see what we got here for collector grade US cars. 35,000. I'd say, yeah, another one here in a Mola Red. It's got 38,000 miles though. That's actually not a bad price. This one here, 29,000. It's got the competition package. You can tell by the wheels that are on it. 100,000 USD. Yeah, anywhere from 60 to 100,000 USD for collector grade cars from the States. You would have done all right if you bought one of those 7 years ago. Boy was not wrong about that one. All right, what was the next one in the video? Present, share. The next car I have on the list. So this is the... You can go watch this video. It's on the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel. You can see right over here, Entrepreneurs and Cars. Just search for 7 cars that will go up in value. Dodge Viper SRT. So these things were slated to be taken out of production, or they were talking about it at the time, taking them out of production. It was very close to the end of the run, and they were high downforce, track focus, lightweight. I think they upped the ECU programming to get a little more power out of the naturally aspirated 10-cylinder motor. It's usually about an 8-liter motor, depending on the year that you got, something around that. Limited production, like you can see over here in the description. This is a limited production car, 91 of 93 in total in 2014. So these things ran from 2003, 8 to 14. They kept building for a little bit longer though. But that would have been the most recent one at that time, 7 years ago, was a 2,000 kilometer example for $118,000. But ACRs are gaining in value, and I think this was a good pick. Let me just go. So we'll close the BMW one. Here we go. There's only one car in all of Canada right now for sale, so it's kind of not the best example. You usually want at least 3 or more. But when you have a low production vehicle, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get very low sales numbers. This one here is a 2017 for sale for $300,000. You could have bought these 7 years ago for about 100 grand. Again, I did this video 7 years ago, so this is a 2017 model. It would have been newer than when I did the video, but the only ones that showed up were, I think the most recent was a 2014. Still $108,000, even if you factor in a newer model. You still would have at least doubled your money. And if you're doubling your money, $100,000 up to $300,000, it was previously listed for $350,000, but the car market's changing right now, so I think $300,000 is probably a reasonable price for these. But these will keep going up in value too. Even at 300 grand, that's actually not a bad price if you can afford it, to get a car that's been discontinued, manual transmission, 8-liter something engine. I think the last generations were like 8.4 liter, but a big ass motor, 10 cylinders. Lots of aero. They're cheap and shit on the inside. Like I rented one of these in Vegas once, and I remember doing like burnouts on the strip. Probably not something I should admit on video, but who cares? The interior on these things, I don't know what this one looks like. This is a 2017. They were cheap as shit, but they're not designed to be luxurious or high quality. They were designed to go fast, and comfort and fit and finish was not even a consideration. Okay, so here's the interior. I mean, they improved it a little bit, but all the touch points, I can tell you right now, all these plastics, the vents, the dashboard, the steering wheel's got Alcantara on it. But any of the main touch points in the car will feel cheap as hell. That's the only downside to them. But you would have done well buying one of those. You would have doubled your money. Imagine, I mean, more even, 1.5 times in 7 years, at least. Anyway. Gen 3 Viper SRT ACR 8.4 V10 was a track weapon. Yeah, it was a really, really quick car. Okay, so let's pull that out. We'll close that one down. Let's see what was next on my prediction list. So far, I've been more right than I've been wrong, actually, with these predictions. ACR Viper. Maybe I'll come back to this video in 7 years with some new predictions, but I gotta come up with some new predictions, I guess. So we put the Viper on. I put the Cayman on the list for some reason. So GT4. So there was a lot of excitement around this car when I made this video 7 years ago, because they put a Carrera S motor basically in the Cayman, which was the closest thing that you could get to a GT3 motor. I know I'm going to be speaking Greek to the non-car people, but let me explain it to you. The Cayman is widely regarded by many Porsche enthusiasts as, or even automotive enthusiasts, I should just say in general, as the better car. Even though the 911 is more expensive and performs better, they say the Cayman's a better car because it's mid-engine instead of rear engine. It's where you place the engine that matters. They'll argue with it all day long. I have a 911 Turbo S. I love that thing. It handles a lot better than I thought it could ever handle. Fantastic car. But I do have a preference for mid-engine cars. So I put this on the list because we didn't know at the time that they were going to bring a GT4 RS to us, which I kind of have coming inbound soon. I've got a Spider RS, which is a convertible version, which is, by the way, the last gas-powered Porsche Cayman / Boxster Porsche is going to ever make, is what we understand. The rest of them are all going to be electric from now on. So to slam a GT3 motor in these cars, actually, I'll talk about that after I get through these. So let's just deal with the GT4 at the time. We got 160, 144, 160. So this is what we had showing at the time. 149, 160, 150. Yeah, so let's just call it 150 average. I don't think I got this one right, though. Let's see what we got here. Cayman GT4, remove and present. Let's show up this new listing here. Yeah, I didn't get it right. Your boy fucked up on that one. Okay, there's 8 listings right now for the same model year cars, but you wouldn't have lost that much money if we're being honest. This one here, 3,300 kilometers, collector grade car. It's got the carbon bucket seats, fully loaded, no accidents, 140,000. You wouldn't have lost much money at all. This one's got 28,000 kilometers, 108,000, 2,000. This would be collector's grade, 126,000. So it went down a few thousand, like $20,000, we'll call it. So you wouldn't have lost that much money. You would have potentially bought a nice car that you'd had a lot of fun track days with, that handles amazing. That's a real piece of art, but I missed the boat on that one. So let's go to the next one, which I got into the Lambos. I had some strong predictions about manual transmissions around this time, and I still do, actually. So let's skip the Boxster because it's the Spider version. Lamborghini Gallardo. So I mentioned Lamborghinis here for a reason, because they're Italian. Everybody loves a Lambo. Whenever I do a car meet or a Cars and Coffee or a rally, doesn't matter what cars are in the parking lot, when the public comes to check them out, the kids, and they're all sort of running up to them and they're taking photographs, they'll skip over the McLarens, they'll skip over the Ferraris, they'll definitely skip over the Porsches, and they go right for the Lambos. The Lambos are the cars that everybody wants to go to, that they want to take photographs with, that they want to be with. They are the poster child car of all exotics, and always have been, and probably for the foreseeable future always will be. Under the $1 million mark for sure. Then you start getting into Bugattis and Koenigsegg and rare exotics like Gordon Murray cars and stuff like that. But at the time, when I did this video 7 years ago, we had some manual Gallardos popping up, which from 2004 to 2008, let me just drag the progress bar over. This one was $119,000. Manual transmission, which is what you want. That's basically what I had in my R8. The R8 was fucking sick. It was almost the exact same pattern. Metal box. I had a silver ball on a stick. Really, really nice car. But anyway, it's basically the same car. It's just got the Audi badge on it instead of the Lambo badge. So the Lamborghini Gallardo at the time, 119,000. I bet these went up in value. 119, 119, 118. And some of these are high mileage too. Like this has got 63,000 kilometers on it, which isn't that much in miles, but in kilometers, it looks like a big number. So let's go to what we got today showing up on the Lamborghini listings in the manual transmission realm of things. Present, share screen. Because you can actually make money on exotic cars. You can make money buying and holding cars. You just have to be smart about it. There we go. Make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So we have Lamborghini Gallardo. This is a 2011. This is collector's quality over here. A 2011 gated 6-speed manual for $585,000. You might have found this car 7 years ago for around $110,000. This would have been a fantastic fucking investment. I really don't like this generation, the body lines. It looks like a fucking kid with a ruler designed the car. It's not my favorite looking Lambo, but that's just the design language that they've always used. Look at that fucking thing. It's just cool to drive, like the clunk, clunk, clunk through the gears. You don't want to do any sort of long drives on it or rally driving, for being honest. But this would have been one of the last gated manual Lamborghini Gallardos ever produced, because it was replaced by the Huracan shortly after this. And this has only got 8,000 kilometers, 585,000, 5 extra money minimum. Holy shit. What else we got here? This one has 40,000 kilometers and even a higher mileage example in a convertible, which isn't going to be as desirable as a coupe for collectors. Obviously, it's just always the case, unless it's a convertible only car. This one here's got 40,000 kilometers, 150 grand. You would have made money off even something like that. 30,000 kilometers, 180 grand. 3,000, oh, sorry, 69, so almost 70,000 kilometers, 150 grand, 170 grand, 19,000 kilometers. This one's a Spider convertible. So I knocked that one right out of the fucking park. I called it, man. That was probably the one that I was the most sure of at the time. And if I go back to my original, I also mentioned the V12 Lambos as well, too. Let me just scroll up a little bit and let's see what we had, because this is the last one that I made the prediction on. So more than half of them have actually been right. Okay, so we've got the Murcielago, which in my opinion is the best sounding V12 modern Lamborghini ever made. Every car they've made after this just does not sound as good as a Murci. The Aventador, the Revuelto, the new one, they sound good, but a straight pipe Murcielago sounds fucking demonic. Sounds sick. So we've got a few here. 7 years ago, 2005. This one would have been a gated manual in my search, 189,000. Holy shit. I bet these things are well over 500,000 to 600,000 if you can find them. This one's $168,000. 249 over here. So we've got 3 examples. Anywhere, let's call it 170 to 250. We'll call it 195, 200 even, right? The value of these things. Lamborghini Murcielago, and I'll be surprised if there's any gated manuals for sale. Manual transmission. Okay. Now, the thing with Lambos is, even though you do a search to filter out for manual transmission, because they're so desirable, people selling the automated manual, the single clutch, which sucks, will actually put it in the manual category. So you have to click and check it out. So this first one here is a 2003, $509,000. And it says manual in the description, but you have to go through the photographs to see the gates. Oh, for fuck's sakes. It's popped up a new window. Here we go. Come on, show me the gates. Yep, it's a manual. Check that out. You could have bought this car 7 years ago for about $195,000 on average. It's going for $509,000. Don't fucking tell me cars are a waste of money. Buying the wrong car is a waste of money. Let's see what else we got in here. 1.4 million? Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, I got to take this earbud out because I don't even need it in. But look at this. 16,000 kilometers. That's a collector grade car. August Motor Cars gets some nice vehicles. This one's probably on consignment. Perfectly complemented carbon liner trim, well cared for, LP640, 100-point inspection, 640 horsepower. Okay, so this has got to be a gated manual. Just got to check the photograph. But it says in the description, it's got a nice white interior. That's different. The panels look like shit, though. If you look at this photograph over here, look at the panel gap. I don't know if that's from an accident or if the roof, or sorry, if the front is not closed properly, but that does not look good. But it is a gated manual. You could have bought this car for $250,000 probably 7 years ago. They're going like this example. I'm using the word example is 1.399. That's the asking, and I would not be surprised if somebody paid something pretty fucking close to that. Because the last time I checked, I would have mentioned in the video 7 years ago, but there's only a handful of gated manual V12 Lamborghinis that were ever made in the Murcielago. Here's one. It's got 24,000 kilometers, so much higher mileage, 539,000. Also says gated manual. I'm assuming it is. 509. Now this one here, this is 2002, so this is one of the early versions. I think the one we saw up here 2007 is an LP640, which is a more powerful motor. It's a 6.4. This one here is an earlier example. Another early example, 33,000 kilometers, 500,000. Either way, you would have made a fuck ton more money than what you paid for these cars when you bought them. Wow. Wow. Let's grab the super chat over here. I'll get some flack for what I'm about to say from the chat. I have no problems of women voting, starting a business, making money, or women wanting to make her own decisions in her life. Where I draw the line is victim blaming. Accountability and women unfortunately mix like oil and water. But you can't put the genie back in the bottle. All these people that are like, amend the 19th or whatever it is, or repeal the 19th Amendment, and let's take away women's rights to vote, or those stupid fucking t-shirts that Pearly made, women shouldn't vote. It's just to get attention. It's just red meat. It's just to get the the t-shirt sales of her thirsty beta simps. You can't put the genie back in the bottle, guys. It's never going to happen. Can confirm, Murcielago straight pipe sounds like a Banshee. They sound sick. They sound disgusting. Rich bought my first collector, not a modern supercar, but 997 Astoro Blue on Modena leather, M345, one of 22, immaculate clean, drives like a dream. Thoughts on collecting old BMWs? You can see from my predictions, I put a few BMWs in there, and the E46 M3 did go up in value, not by the same proportion as those LP640 Murcielagos. Dude, if you could have bought a Mercy for 200,000, a nice clean example with a 6-speed manual 7 years ago, and you could sell it for 1.5 today, that's disgusting. You wouldn't get that rate of return. I mean, like Bitcoin would beat that over 7 years probably, especially if you bought Bitcoin 7 years ago versus today. Astoro Blue, that's the E36 M3 you're talking about. I had a friend of mine that had one of those. Immaculate clean, drives it. If it's collector's grade, it'll definitely hold its value. The problem is that you want to drive them, and you put more miles on them, the value goes down, sort of thing. But if you use it for cars and coffee, getting ice cream once every couple of weeks, starting it up once a month, sort of just to keep the seals nice, why not? Like, buy a car that you like first. Make a wise choice and buy something that's low production, desirable, like poster value, right? Like, one of the things that will always make a car go up in value is it a poster car? Is it a car that younger kids put up on their wall when they're in their early teens or teen years and had wet dreams about? Because when they get older and they make money, they never forget about those cars. Like, I'll never forget about the white Lamborghini on the black background with the phone dial wheels, the Countach. Let me see if I can find a photograph. White Lambo Countach poster. I used to have this poster on my wall. Basically this one, I think it was. I'll never forget about this car. This one right here. It was basically this poster over here, right? Phone dial wheels, big ass wing on the back, all that stuff. Those cars will always go up in value. So if you can get your hand on one of those, they will do well in the future for sure. Poster cars are awesome. Straight pipe Lambo GT4 was a fair shout considering it was the first one. Yeah, I didn't know that they were going to make better and better versions of it, but now that they've said that they're stopping production of internal combustion Boxster Caymans and they're switching to electric, and they've already switched to electric Macans in Europe, purportedly because of anti-hacking laws or some shit is what Porsche says, which I don't get. What they've said is they can't update the ECU software or something to do with the car if it's an internal combustion car. So in Europe, they're only selling electric Macans going forward, which is their best-selling SUV here. You can still buy them here with a petrol engine, but in Europe, it only comes with an electric format. And they're saying that this run of Cayman Boxsters is done for internal combustion engine, and they're switching over to electric. So I don't know if they're going to hold themselves to their words, but fingers crossed. I have a deal. I just put a deposit down on a Spider RS. The one that I ordered didn't come through. I'm not even going to get into the long story, but long story short, it didn't come through. So I found another opportunity, which hopefully pans out in the next week or two. You guys will see me post about it, or I'll talk about it, make a video. But it's fucking sick. It is. The GT3 motor and the Porsches are incredible cars. They're highly desirable. They're only doing them for this run, purportedly. So they should minimum hold strong value, at best appreciate in value. So keep my fingers crossed on that one. What else we got here in the chat? You guys are pretty active talking about cars. I'm getting it now. Rich, look for a 23 GP2 Mini Cooper. Yeah, I like them. I do like them. What else we got in the chat over here? I had to get rid of my Audi A4. I'm looking for a new car. Quick, somebody talk me out of buying a Prius. I'll talk you out of it right now. Cool Prius, said by nobody ever. Nobody's ever going to look back when they've locked up a Prius and walk away from it and look back at it and be like, oh yeah, that's a nice car. I mean, the new ones do look a lot better. Like the new design language looks a lot better, but it's still a fucking Prius, right? Like nobody's ever going to look at a Prius and be like, that's a cool Prius. Yeah. So there's that. So let me close up a few of these windows over here and make some space. Oh, I also wanted to talk about this new fucking M5 because I used to have one of these. They just announced yesterday the new BMW M5 with 17 horsepower. It has a hybrid system, which is the first M product with a hybrid system, but it's gained some weight, and not just a little bit of weight. It's gained 1,045 fucking pounds. So it's slower than the last generation car. It's not as fast. I'm assuming that they've made room for competition model, club sport model, GTS, like whatever premium models they're going to build on top of it, which should have more power. But it's inexcusable to make a newer generation of a car, which legitimately has the same motor, and they've slopped in a small battery and a hybrid drivetrain, which shouldn't be that heavy. Like when Porsche puts a hybrid drivetrain in the 911 GTS, it weighs like 180 pounds more. When BMW does it, it weighs 1,045 pounds more. That's like putting 3 American women in your car. Break it down that way, like the average American woman. They really fucked up. BMW has been nothing but a disappointment to me with their new cars. They're just fucking lazy, in my opinion, anyway. For example, they don't develop new motors. And it's not just BMW that does this. All the car companies do this. They don't develop new motors in the new generation cars. So using the M3 as a popular example, most people watching this that have any idea of what a car guy is or a petrol head will know that the E36 straight 6, decent power, E46 M3 also had a straight 6, increased displacement, totally brand new redesign. E92 M3 had the 4-liter V8, totally brand new design. And then they went into the next generation after that around 2014. I can't remember what that one was called, but it had a twin turbo inline 6, totally new design. But that same motor, since about 2014, has been carried over generation after generation with some slight massaging. And they sell you it as a new redeveloped car, which it's not. It's a refined motor. They haven't re-engineered anything into it that's brand new. And now they're slapping in hybrid systems into the M5s on the same V8, which is basically in my M5 that I had in 2012. I think it was the F10 M5. And mine was dyno tuned. It had 700 horsepower. It was a fucking missile on the highway. And all they're doing is slapping hybrid drivetrains on it, and they're charging you more and more and more. And they're legitimately making these cars uglier and uglier and uglier and making them heavier and heavier and heavier. So I don't know. I just don't get that model. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, fuck me. Like, look at that. Lamborghini Murcielago, man. You could have bought those cars for, I mean, it sounds like a lot of money when you say $200,000 to some people, but to turn 200,000 into potentially 6 to 1.5 million, depending on the grade of the vehicle. Same thing with the Countachs. Those went up in value. Even if you drove them, they would still go up in value. The Cayman I was wrong about. Viper I was absolutely right about. M3 I was right about, although the gains weren't huge. And the Mini Cooper I was wrong about. So 2 out of the 7 I was wrong about. I actually did pretty good with my predictions. You guys want me to do another batch of predictions? Maybe I'll do it next week on cars that I think will appreciate in value, and we'll go back down in that 7 years' time. But I mean, I can talk about cars all day long. Gallardos were cheap in the UK for a period, 45,000 K used. I remember there was a, so here's a story for you. There was a buddy of mine, and let me just pull it up here on the Auto Trader because I didn't include this in the prediction, but you guys know me. Like, oh, get fucked. Is this a courier? Hang on. I got to get the door. I'll be right back. It's a courier. All right. Sorry about that. It's a fucking door knocker. It wasn't even a courier. Right. So let's go to Ferrari Testarossa. You guys know what a Ferrari Testarossa is, because I could have got my hands on a left-hand drive Ferrari Testarossa from Japan. I don't know if you can still do this, but where were they? It was $35,000. This was like 2008. I remember it was 2008 because I was considering buying that or my E93 M3 convertible, which was one of the very first cars that I used on my channel, on the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel in 2014. So let's see what they go for now. I bet a nice Testarossa goes for fat stacks of cash. Okay, let's go national. Let's see what we get here. Present, share screen. So these were cool cars because of Miami Vice and, you know, stuff in the 80s. Yeah, there you go. This one, you could call that a collector grade, although it's an ugly color. I love how they make up these funky names for ugly colors. Oro, Chiaro, Metazalata, Toto. Whatever the fuck that means. But quarter mil, basically. 214. It was a red car, Rosso Corsa. 214. I could have bought that car for $35,000 in 2008 from Japan, and it was like they had it inspected. I don't know. I got wigged out and I just didn't get it, but that would have been a nice purchase too. So it's just a matter of finding the right vehicle. Again, that's another poster child vehicle, right? Like we all had posters of Testarossas, Lamborghini Countachs on our walls from my generation anyway. So guys, as they get older, and they, like a buddy of mine, he's about the same age as me. He makes really good money. He owns his own company. He bought a Testarossa because he's always liked the car. It's not a great car to drive. It's not fast by today's standards. Like you can go and buy a Toyota Corolla and race them side by side, 0 to 60. Like I've seen them do this with old Ferraris versus a new car, and the Toyota will smoke it. So it's not fast by today's standards, but it's a cool car. You're never going to see them ever made again. It's a legendary motor. It's a flat 12. So it's a horizontally opposed 12 cylinder. It's not a V12. It's a flat 12. But yeah, you know, 35 grand could have, you know, you could fetch 250. There's one here that's a 1990 for 299. I've seen the new M5. Yeah, I just talked about it, 21 Pogon. So there's that, right? But yeah, it's just being wise in how you deploy your money. And like the other thing too that you always got to remember, and I keep saying this, and it's the ones that struggle with the notion of doing the work that don't get it. It's when I say like cars are a networking tool. I'm not going to say first and foremost for me because I buy cars that I like, one, but I also contemplate when evaluating the car, if it's an expensive one, what's its value going to be over the long term, or will it hold its value over the long term? Like one of the reasons why I switched from the McLaren to the Porsche to the Turbo S. I like to do rallies. So the nice thing about Turbo S's is they hold their value better than the McLarens. It's just as fast a car, handles just as well, not as exciting to look at. The doors don't go up. It's in the dealership a lot less than a McLaren. I mean, like the McLaren never broke down mechanically. It was just stupid shit that you always had to bring it in for. So there's that contemplation, but ideally you want it to go up in value. So I think the Spider RS that I've got queued up will tick that box. Time will tell. We'll see. But if you guys want me to do like a more modern or newer version of what I did 7 years ago on predictions on cars that I think will go up in value, 5 out of 7 is not bad. And several of them went up big time, like the Viper ACR, big time, gated Gallardos, big time, gated Murcielagos, huge fucking appreciation. Even the E46 M3s or the M Roadsters or the M Coupes went up reasonably well too. So if you have the means and you're an automotive enthusiast, you like cars, and you have a car that you can drive, that you can put miles on, that you enjoy, and you're okay with the secondary sort of investment quality, type of car that you can drive from time to time, grab one. Why not? Life is too short, man. And they keep shoving these, like the government keeps shoving these electric cars down our throats. They're not selling now. Car company, like it was about 2 years ago. I remember Audi made an official announcement, and they said that they're winding down the production of all internal combustion engine cars. I was like, that sucks. They're going to move to all electric cars. And recently, in the last 6 months, they made a new announcement. They said, we're not giving up on the ICE car. In fact, I think all the German manufacturers, Mercedes, Audi, like the Volkswagen Group, and BMW all said the same thing. We're not actually going to give up on ICE cars. That was a premature announcement. We're not going to go down that road yet. And that's good. That's good for guys that like, what do they call it? Suck, squish, bang, blow. It's the 4-cycle engine. Cylinder goes down, sucks in the air and fuel mixture, goes up, compresses it. Okay. Suck, squeeze, spark plug goes off, bang, goes down. You get your power stroke, and then it goes back up and pushes out the exhaust gas, blow. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. You're never going to get that with an electric car. They're boring as shit. They're fast. Sure, they're fast. Rich the Rimac, rich the blibbity blah. They're fast. I get it. But they lack soul. They're just not exciting to me. If, being in a Tesla excites you, enjoy. Awesome. Like, race me fucking 0 to 60 and blow the doors off my car. I could give a fuck. I don't care. Like, the difference between going 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds and 1.9 seconds, like a Model Plaid or something like that, I don't care. You get to the 60 mark a little bit faster, but your life sucks. It's boring. I can fill up my gas tank in 5 minutes. It takes you overnight to charge your fucking thing at home. It might take you 40 minutes to charge it at a supercharger, even with high voltage. Okay. I don't care. I don't care. No matter how much you tell me the technology, the safety, the self-driving, the whatever the fuck it is you're going to say next, I don't care. The cost of like miles per dollar spent, whatever the fuck, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Maybe the new generations will care, and electricity, they'll like powered cars, they think will be better, but there's still a strong contingent of automotive enthusiasts out there that want an internal combustion engine. The fact that Porsche stuck the GT3 motor in the Cayman and the Boxster is evidence, in my opinion, that you can't buy them. If you walk into a dealership right now and you go to Porsche and go, yo, I'd like to get a Cayman GT4 RS or a Boxster Spider RS, they're going to be like, and how many other cars have you bought? And who are you? I've never heard of you before. They won't even offer it to you. They're going to tell you, yeah, we've got allocations, but I have 17 other people in line that are good customers that have bought cars from us before that we'll sell the allocation to before we give it to you. This is the level of demand that exists for premium well-built, well-engineered internal combustion engine cars. And they don't need to have 2,000 horsepower like a fucking Rimac. A GT3 motor that's going to be in the Spider RS that I'm going to collect soon only has like 493 horsepower, but it's Porsche 493 horsepower. It makes a big fucking difference. I've done twisties, I've done tail the dragon, I've done back of the dragon, I've done triple nickel, I've done hellbender, I've done all those wicked roads that are in the Appalachian Trail. We're doing a rally in August. Me and my boys are doing another rally. Guys in my community are actually going to come on this one. So if you're involved in my community, make sure you're going to respond to that post. If you want to get involved, get in the damn community. And even in my 720, which is a missile, it's such an amazing car, such a fast car. On the highway, there's really nothing that was faster than it, you know, for being honest, that I ever came up against when we were rallying. Maybe like even a 765 LT, it's the same. 720 and a 765 is exactly the same on the highway. But in the twisties, a GT3 is faster than a 720 in the twisties, and it's got like 300 horsepower less, 250, you know, whatever you want to call it. So there's that too. I don't know, man. I just think that if you're a guy and you like things that burn gas, again, I talk about it in my book. Every guy should own a motorcycle at some point. This is the gateway drug to speed. This is the gateway drug to the internal combustion engine. Motorcycles are the gateway drug to suck, squeeze, bang, blow. 4-cycle engine. You get on a motorcycle, you know, you can buy a fast bike for $10,000, a reasonably fast bike that will do a quarter mile in 12 seconds, something or another, like a 600. Sound awesome. You put a pipe on it. Gets 40, 50 miles to the gallon when you're cruising on the highway. Very inexpensive to maintain, super reliable. Chicks dig them. You throw them on the back. They have to hold on to you tight. Exactly like I talked about in my book. It's the gateway drug to the internal combustion engine, to being a petrol head, to all those things, because you can't buy that unless you get into something that's $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 plus when it comes to cars. Yeah, I mean, like an M product, an RS product from Audi, or an AMG product from Mercedes is where you really get into the fun stuff. People always ask me about Japanese cars. Rich, what about JDM? JDM cars are cool too. Like, you know, like the Supra was a thing when I was a kid. But they're not as nice as German cars. When they say there's no substitute for Porsche, they weren't lying. I resisted Porsche for many, many years, and I'll tell you why. It's funny because I'm going to own 2 Porsches. I just didn't like them. I just did not like them. I thought that the engine design was stupid, and it was because of my own fault. When I was in collections, I won a track day. So top performers, contests, all that kind of bullshit. I like cars. They had a track day as a prize. So I worked my ass off to get the prize. It wasn't a huge value of a prize. I don't know, $2,000 for a track day. It was at Shannonville here, just east of Toronto towards Kingston. And so I go to this track day. It's a Porsche track day. They've got Boxster, Cayman, 911. They had a 911 race car. And it was a caged and gutted. It was a full-on race car. It had the roll cage. It had the bucket seats, the detachable steering wheel that you clipped in and everything like that. Everything was removed from the interior. Everything was removed from the front. So the weight bias was even further back than what it would normally be. And I'd never driven one on the track before. I think at the time I was driving a Subaru WRX, which I had tuned, which maybe had 275 horsepower to the wheels. And it's a good car, handled well, was fun, all-wheel drive, well-balanced, behaved very well. Even though it didn't have any stability control or ABS or traction, it was very forgiving, good, responsive car. Really enjoyed that car. So you get in a Porsche now, which they say is the best car of all fucking time, and you drive this 911 on the racetrack, and you drive it like a WRX, and of course it's going to fucking spin around on you. Of course the ass end is going to spin around on you, because the way that you take corners in a 911 is different from other cars. So when you learn how to drive the car correctly, and you get your braking out of the way before you turn in, which I didn't do. I was still trail braking into the corner, and then the ass end swung around like a pendulum because that's where all the weight was. And it scared the shit out of me. So I just didn't like Porsches for years. I used to make fun of them. I say, you know, I used to make fun of my friends, how do you like your Beetle, like sort of thing. And I always had fast cars, so we joke around and we were good buddies sort of thing. And it's just like, I remember for a few years, a buddy of mine got rid of his McLaren and he got a Turbo West, the new generation, the same one that I have. And for 2 years, we're doing like 3 or 4 rallies together. And I'm like, how the fuck is this thing keeping up with me? And how am I not? So when he's behind me, I'm thinking, how is he keeping up with me? And when I'm chasing him, I'm thinking to myself, how is it that I cannot gain on this guy? I can't tighten the gap. This car is really that good. And I said to him, I go, dude, how do you like this Porsche thing? He goes, take it out for a drive. They're amazing cars. So he throws me the keys. I just did, it was raining. I just did like a quick drive around the block sort of thing. I didn't think anything of it, but watching him drive made me realize there are a lot more to the car than what you think. So when it comes to automobiles, I'm sold, man. Porsche, you got me. You got me. Hook, line, and sinker. So got the Turbo S. Should have a Spider RS soon. I'll show you the spec when I get it. I don't want to jinx it. I've already put down the deposit and everything, but I'll show you the spec, once I get it. It's sick. It's sick. Let me get these super chats here. Did you get my DM for this in the school for the new fuel source? Let me see here real quick. Did you send me a DM on the school of unplugging? What school? In the school? What are you talking about, Mike? There's no DM from anybody new in the school of unplugging. I'm assuming you're talking about the synthetic fuel that Porsche is investing in. So I'm assuming that's what it is. So I'll talk about that. Porsche understands that it has a strong following for its cars. The 911, they've been making it. The 911's older than me, for fuck's sakes. I think they started making them in the 60s. Hang on. When was the first 911 made? 68. February 1968. They've been making these things are older than me. They're old as fuck. So they figured them out. So Porsche knows that it has a contingent of customers that likes the 911. The 911 is a good car. So with the notion of pushing for fuel and fuel cells or hydrogen or whatever the fuck the next generation of combustion or energy happens to be to move the automobile, you can manufacture synthetic fuel by mixing a few ingredients together and taking carbon out of the atmosphere, and they can make synthetic fuel. The problem is that right now, I don't know, like we'll use US numbers. What does it cost? $3-4 at the pump per gallon. Last time I checked, when I looked into it, it's like $40 to $50 per gallon to make synthetic fuel. So it's a lot more expensive, but they've invested a shit ton of money into manufacturing synthetic fuels. I think they have a plant in Argentina or Brazil. It's somewhere in South America, but they invested a ton of money into this. I mean, it's within reason that they can get the price down to under $10 a gallon in the future easily. So you'll always have fuel for the automobile, for cars that burn gas. I don't think that's ever going to go away. Fuel source, nice show. It's different pace. I wanted to talk about cars today, so I figured, what the fuck. I'll make a plug for Vancouver folks. Bratz, Bavaria, German Car Fest, Intro, Richmond, coming Sunday. Yeah, go check that out. Guys, participate in car culture. If you like cars, go out to Cars and Coffees. Get a car and do rallies. Join car clubs and attend events. Network with these people. The networking part of it is one of the best parts. The social part of it is one of the best parts. Being able to do rallies with my friends, I fucking love it. Being able to hang out with these guys and do dinners and stuff like that, I love it. It's fun to drive on your own and go get a coffee or an ice cream or something like that. Okay, big deal. But to hang out with your friends and do it and do the networking, and you end up in chat groups, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden you're in a Porsche chat group and a McLaren chat group and the rally chat group and the watch chat group and the mountain biking chat group. And it's like, you have all these groups and all these interests with other guys that have similar interests. Go put yourself in those rooms and don't make excuses like, oh, well, I don't have a supercar. How am I supposed to network, with these guys? Dude, you can get into a exotic car club with a Boxster S, $50,000 car under. You can get into many of these exotic car clubs. Like, they'll accept you if you have a AMG product from Mercedes, an RS product from Audi, or an M product from BMW, or Boxster S, or a Cayman S, or whatever. even a regular Cayman. I think there's a guy in our car club that has a regular Cayman. He did some work to it. Sounds cool. And they're all good people. They're really, 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 really good people. So if you like cars, indulge. If you like motorcycles, indulge. It's the exact same things, the same level of advice that I would give. Why are most men lazy, unmotivated, not willing to do the work for their long-term success? I really don't know. I can't associate with that mindset. I can't associate with the victim, the whining, the loser mindset, the money's the root of all evil, and everybody that has it obtained it in fucking nefarious ways, blah, blah, fucking blah. Like, cry me a river, loser. That's the reason why your life sucks. If I were to sit there and go, oh, my life sucks, I've got third-degree burns all over my body, women will never like me, I've lost my hair, whatever, right? People like to sit around and sulk, and it's like misery loves company. And that's your competition. To stand out from the competition has never been easier, in my opinion, than any other time in history. It would have been harder, I think, in my granddad's era to stand out from the competition because everybody was cookie cutter. It was join the military. It was get some corporate gig, work there for 20, 40 years, get your watch when you retire, buy your car, buy your house, have your white picket fence, your 2.1 kids and your fucking dog and all. Like, it's never been easier to stand out from that crowd than it is today because you have things like the internet, you have things like the blockchain, you have things like now AI, which you can integrate into ways to make money in business and solve problems. I just don't get the unwillingness to do the work. I also don't understand the affinity for bizarre tech, like even Teslas, to me. Why does every Tesla driver look and act the same? It's like, there's a avatar of people that drive certain cars. It's very true. It's very true. It is what it is, though. Gilbert, young boys ditch electric go-karts for their gas-powered mini bikes. They love the ingenuity and add mods independently. That's fucking great. I remember I was looking into an indoor go-kart facility at one point in 2003 when I got let go from my job before I started out my debt settlement business. And electric go-karts are one of the things that we were looking at. I was comparing them to the gas-powered products, what the cost to buy and ownership and charge and all that sort of stuff. But that's great. I mean, if kids are moving to gas products and tuning them and putting pipes on them and carbureting and, like, we used to fuck around with that stuff all the time. It's the best thing ever. Brandon's talking about Ferraris here, but there's something special about Porsches. So I haven't talked about Ferrari yet here on the show. Aside from the Testarossa that I mentioned earlier, but I don't really like the new Ferraris at all. I don't think they're good looking cars. They do look exotic, but I don't think compared to a lot of modern exotics, they're good looking cars. Unless you get into like a Stradale, like the Apertas, like the very low production, lightweight, bump in power, more aero. They just generally don't look that good in my opinion. The modern ones also, from my experience, they're not that reliable. I've seen a few of them break down on rallies with the exception of 458s and the V12s. I do like the V12 Ferrari, that front engine, not the TDF, the Superfast, and the versions below the Superfast. Really nice car, super reliable. I know a guy in a rally that's got one with like loads of miles on it. He just beats the shit out of it straight piped. It sounds phenomenal. But Ferrari dealers suck. You walk into a Ferrari dealer. I mean, I did it over here when I was shopping for my McLaren, because Ferrari's on one side of the road and McLaren's on the other side. So I figured, fuck it, I'll go into Ferrari first. Pull in, I walk in. They look at you like, what are you doing here? Do you have an appointment? Like, who are you? And then they're rude to you when you tell them that you're interested in looking at the cars and is there anybody available? So I was like, fuck these guys. And I go across the street to McLaren. Very nice people, very friendly. Oh, yeah, you want to test drive a car? No problem. Let's grab the keys. What do you want? Super Series, Sports Series? You want a Spider? You want a hardtop? We've got them ready to go, right? I'll definitely buy another McLaren in the future. They're great cars, great company. They're generally well built mechanically. Hopefully the next one I get will have all of its bullshit things worked out. Oh, hang on. Michael, I have your DM now. For some reason it showed up. Hey, Rich, it was about how they're changing to hydrogen Tesla instead of electric. Oh, interesting. Tesla's changing to hydrogen probably as an energy source, I would imagine. See, the problem that Tesla has is that they store their energy in batteries, and batteries are notoriously heavy. And anybody that's had a cell phone knows that their cell phone doesn't hold the same charge on the day that you get it 3 years later. The day that you get it, you can charge it, use it all day, wake up in the morning, not even put it in the charger, and it's still got charge. 3 years later, you got it plugged in constantly. It's not that different with electric cars. Tesla's managed to figure out how to at least minimize the degradation of your range or your range capacity in the battery. But that goes out the window in the wintertime when it's cold. It goes out the window in the summer. It goes out the window in the summertime when it's too hot and you got to run the AC. And they got to precondition batteries, and there's cooling and heating and all this sort of stuff. So it's like, you buy a car with a gas tank, and I'll just use a Porsche. It's got a 68-liter gas tank. I know what kind of range I'm going to get on a rally with a 68-liter gas tank, regardless of how I drive. It changes, obviously, how you drive, but not as much as you'd think. Whereas with a Tesla, depending on the time of year, how hot it is, how cold it is outside, if it's wet, do you have to run a lot of ancillaries because it's dark out a lot, lighting, stuff like that, then you're going to lose. It's like your gas tank changes in size. It's like, oh, you've got a 68-liter gas tank. When you buy it, 5 years later, it's only a 55-liter gas tank because it doesn't hold the same amount of charge. Or if it's cold out, it's only worth about 45 liters of gas. You see what I'm saying? So what they're trying to do, Tesla, as I understand it, is if we can switch storage from energy storage to energy production on the car with hydrogen, then you can make electricity with hydrogen. You don't have to store as much of it. You can sort of generate the electricity, have a small storage system on it, and then dispense it or deploy it, the wheels as you need it. So you kind of make it as you need it with some slight storage. So that would make sense. But the interesting thing is Toyota is doing, they're talking about internal combustion hydrogen, which I think is fucking awesome, because internal combustion anything is awesome. Again, suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Those 4 words are fun words, in any measure or any way that you take it, depending on how you want to use them. So seeing Tesla talk about less along the ways of battery storage. The other problem that you run into is that the elements that you use for battery storage are not readily available. They're difficult to obtain. There's a limited resource, and they're not easily recycled. So they have these fucking kids in these mines in Africa daily getting paid peanuts to, go get them their cobalt or whatever the fucking raw materials are that they use to make this, these battery packs, which don't hold a charge after 8 to 10 years properly. And they have to, I don't know, do they recycle them? Do they throw them out at that point? My understanding is they don't have a proper recycling program. So I'm not opposed to the electrification of cars. I just want it paired with a gas motor. I like performance electrification. A buddy of mine has an NSX, the new one. That's a hybrid, cool car, works well. The Artura, that's a McLaren hybrid, works well. The 296 Ferrari, even though I don't like the look of it, it's fast as fuck. It's a V6 hybrid. It's a missile. It's faster than a 750S McLaren. So I think the electrification of petrol motors is what I'm interested in. Like as a daily driver, plug-in hybrids, probably a better fit for most people than just a straight up electric cars. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Let's do a little bit of calling. I'm going to run the ad reel and actually let me grab the link, copy, and call in and ask a question. Let's do a little bit of Q&A. Ask me anything you guys want, by the way. I'll put it in all chat. And let me close a few of these things. I'm just going to run the ad reel. Be back in like a minute and a half real quick. This episode is sponsored by richcooper.ca. Brothers, if you're like me and take what you put in your body seriously, you're going to want to use the Unplugged Alpha supplement line. An obsession with absorption is what sets this line apart from the others. You want to make sure that you absorb as much of the supplements as possible so you don't end up peeing out expensive urine. My supplement line is made in the United States from the highest quality domestic ingredients, and unlike cheap supplements from China in plastic bottles, mine ship in dark glass bottles to keep your supplements fresher, longer, and won't seep endocrine disrupting plastics into your supplements. Nothing is a hard tablet. Everything is in an easily digested, bioavailable capsule. You can filter all products by their various categories, including testosterone support, estrogen metabolism, fat burning, immune health, sleep support, and performance. Visit theunpluggedalpha.com/shop and use the subscribe and save option over here to get 10% off your supplement order, or use coupon code ALPHA10 for 10% off a one-time order to try it out. Men, if you want to know everything that I know today that I wish my dad taught me in my 20s, join the School of Unplugging. There are over 30 hours of lessons currently, a well-organized discussion board, and weekly Zoom calls held by experts with backgrounds in strength, nutrition, finance, investing, and entrepreneurship, all for one low monthly membership. Visit richcooper.ca and on the courses tab, hit the School of Unplugging and get started here. Guys, make sure you visit my website for my communities, requesting a private one-on-one consultation, or learning about my future events. And don't forget to opt into my email list over here to get my newsletter. Let's get on with the show. Yeah. All right. So that link to call-ins there, guys. I forgot to mention the supplement line, because it's in the ad reel. We just got a new great flavor for the nitric oxide product, the pump. I wasn't a big fan of the fruit punch. I used it, but I wasn't a big fan of the flavor. The great flavor for the Nox product, it's called Pump, is really, really good. It's a slight reformulation. It's the same price. It's an improved reformulation with improved flavor. And we've got chocolate whey now on the supplement website. So if you like the chocolate paleo protein, basically the beef protein, and you want like a whey product, the whey is always cheaper than beef. So if you can tolerate, or if you're not lactose intolerant, you can deal with the whey, go for the whey. It doesn't cost as much, and the chocolate flavor is really, really good. I've been using it. It gives me the farts, but I don't care. I use it anyway because it's a tasty little mix. All right. Again, a link to call in is there in the live chat. You can just hit it and pop in. Let me grab Jeff here. Jeff, what's up, buddy?
Hey, Rich. I've been meaning to get on here for quite some time now.
Yeah, what do you got?
I got a business question for you.
Fire away.
So basically, I've been running my own business for the last couple of years. It's a small operation. I do auto detailing. I know you dabbled a bit in that when you were quite a bit younger.
Yeah.
Basically, last year, business really took off. Banger of a year. This year's just kind of been okay. But long story short, in the process of all this, I've managed to accumulate a pretty decent amount of business debt, like business credit card debt, and really just trying to figure out if I should continue doing this or not. I have a degree. I've worked in the corporate world before as well, and just kind of trying to decide if I should go back to that or not. And I feel like my window of opportunity in doing so is going to be closing in the next year or two. Not to mention, I've been doing detailing for about 15 years now, and I'm very good at it, but I'm getting burnt out, and I just see this industry going very downhill, and it's just extremely oversaturated. I see some guys that manage to do pretty well, but they're running a pretty big operation, and just with how saturated it is, I don't see it. I see getting to that level, the odds of doing that just increasingly difficult.
Are you mobile? Like, do you have a mobile truck? Do you go to them, or do they come to you? Do you have a garage?
I have a small shop.
Yeah.
But there's everyone and their mother's got a shop or mobile. There's guys around here that do it for unreasonably cheap, kind of to the point where are you even making money kind of thing. and that's who you're competing with. There's just so much saturation that it's driving the price down for
That's
these
how it
things.
goes.
And
That's how it goes.
I just don't think this is like a good industry to be in anymore.
I saw the writing on the wall when I did it. I did it for somebody else, and I did it for myself for a while, and it's exhausting. There's not a lot of profit in it. You get a lot of finickiness. Weather can be conditional. People don't usually subscribe. The only way that I would do car detailing is if it was high end, like ultra high end, and you had subscribing clients. So it's like every 2 weeks you detail their car. Like you go to their house on a schedule, kind of like a cleaning service, like how the cleaners come to my house on a certain schedule. Like you go to their house on a schedule, you've got recurring revenue from your customers, you detail their car on the spot. You don't have brick and mortars, you don't have rent to pay. You just have a truck with a water fucking can in the back and all your tools. You open up the back and do it that way. But even then, there's still not that much profit in it. It's not super scalable, right? Like you're probably never going to break a few $1 million a year in annual revenue. Like, have you done that yet?
No, not even close. I mean, that's another thing I wanted to bring up is I've been following you for years now, and I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that you've given is if you're not making $1 million a year in revenue and you're running your own business, you're wasting your time. And I feel like I'm wasting my time at this point. And I don't see, hitting $1 million in revenue anytime soon. I mean, I'm a one-man show here, so that's not happening. The guys that I see.
So wind it down then. Like if it's not worth it, like if the juice is not worth the squeeze and all you've done is created a business to employ yourself and you can make more money working for somewhere else where you don't have the risk of getting sued, you don't have the debt issues, you don't have, like you can leave the office at 5 o'clock and let them deal with the fucking office, right? Like you're better off working for somebody else at that point.
I totally agree. The only problem here is I just feel like I'm kind of married to it because I am in quite a bit of debt and I don't know how the hell else I'm going to pay it off.
Well, you can file for bankruptcy. It's a corporate thing.
Well, I mean, mostly it's like business credit card debt. And from my understanding, that's tied to you personally. So you're on the hook for it regardless.
You might have some personal guarantees depending on how you set it up. Right. But if you have to file for bankruptcy, like how much debt is on the cards?
I've got 2 cards and it's just a little bit under 50K. I mean, another option I have is I could sell a retirement portfolio and stocks and some vehicles and probably wipe all of it out or pretty close. But I just really rather not do that.
So, and where do you live again? Like which country?
Dallas, Texas.
Texas. Okay. So you can settle the debt. So here's a few options. So find out if you've got a personal guarantee. Do you know about that yet?
I'm pretty sure. When you sign the terms and conditions on these cards, I mean, it's in there.
Okay. So if you've got a personal guarantee on the corporate debt, then you're liable. You basically wind down the business and then you'd file for personal bankruptcy. Do you have any assets? Do you have a house? Do you have cars?
No, just cars, I guess, if that.
What are the cars worth?
Probably around 12, 13. I've got a motorcycle. I've got a sport bike, a Gixxer. It's worth probably about 5.
Okay, there's certain ways to get around that where you can hold on to those assets and still file for the bankruptcy. So you've got 2 options. You can file for bankruptcy, which is pretty quick and simple. You just do it once. You don't ever want to do it again because the second time around it usually costs more. Like they've got a higher barrier to entry both in Canada and the States or stuff like that. Or you can settle the debt. I have a book on Amazon. It's less than $10. It's called the DIY Debt Settlement Guide. So just search for Richard Cooper DIY Debt Settlement. You can just go and negotiate settlements yourself. So on 50 grand, you should be able to get out of debt for 20, 25 grand. As long as you can get access to a lump sum and then make an offer to them and just go, look, like the business is wound down. I'm not running anymore. We're filing for bankruptcy. I'm personally filing for bankruptcy. I want to make right on these. I don't have 50 grand to pay you guys off, but I can scrape together 20, 22,000, something reasonable. Right. And, you make them offers, you get it in writing, you settle it off. The book has a step-by-step system on how to do it. So you can go to Amazon and get it. I didn't bother publishing it on audio or print copy. So you have to get it on Kindle. So even if you don't have a Kindle, you can get a Kindle reader on your desktop computer and you can just read it over there. but it's a complete guide. It's very easy to follow.
Is that still an option if I decide to keep doing this just like on the side or something?
I mean, you're either in or you're out with something like that, right? Like, why would you want to keep doing it on the side if it sucks? Like, if it's not a good use of your time?
Just like a weekend thing or nights. I mean, I've found a lot
I would
of.
take the weekends and nights and figure out a way to make way more money with that time.
Okay.
Rather than chasing $250 cleanup here, $300 detail there. You know what I mean? Like, spend that time that you have in the evenings and the weekends figuring out ways to start up something that's got some legs. So I talk about elf businesses versus half businesses. A easy, lucrative, and fun business is what I promote. What you've got yourself there right now is hard, annoying, lame, and frustrating.
Yes,
Not a lot of profit, a lot of hours. You've got some debt. It's very difficult, you know. But it's what most guys gravitate to. It's like the weird one that always comes up over and over again that guys always ask me about, and I don't know why, is pressure washing businesses. Right? Every guy that I talk to, like, oh, you know, what do you think about pressure? It's like, dude, it sucks. I have a good friend of mine that owns a pressure washing business, and he can't wait to get out of it. Right.
I mean, all these like low barrier to entry busises.
Exactly.
I'm
you go out and get some
suck.
cleaning products and a buffer and some chamois, and you've got a detailing business, right?
Yeah.
A bucket and some soap and a fucking, you know, brush. You got a detailing business. Same thing with pressure washing businesses, right? Like, it's easy to fucking do. And they're not great businesses. Like, if you go and create something where you're just employing yourself to pay yourself a salary that's the same or generally less than what you would be getting working as a professional for somebody else, go take that job. Like, go take the job.
Yeah. I mean, I know so many guys that have a job, and, you know, even if they're not making insane amounts of money, they're still making good money or better money than me, and they're not beating the crap out of their body every single day, and they've got paid vacation and benefits and all this stuff.
If anything, sell your book of business. So if you have regular customers, you got a car dealership, you got like regular customers, you can sell that book of business, right? Like, you can sell that part of your business to somebody else that already has a detailing business and say, look, I'm getting out of it. I've got whatever, 120 clients, you know, and then work out a deal where they buy your clients off you. They can buy your supplies. They can buy everything off you, including your client list.
Yep. Okay. I guess last thing that may be difficult is whether I settle the debt or not, or whatever I decide to do that. If I completely get out of this, I guess I'm wondering how exactly I will end up being able to pay off the debt, unless I manage to land myself a 6-figure job or pretty close, which I don't know if that's
possible. If you're going to settle it, one of the things you have to do is stop paying, right? So if you can't afford to pay it, then stop struggling to keep trying to pay it. It'll go into default. Like, the book explains what the collection process is, when you hit them for the settlement, what kind of offer you make for a settlement. It would take me like 3 hours to explain it. So just buy the $10 book and read it yourself.
Okay. Last thing, is this will that F my credit up if I decide to do that? Because
your credit already sucks right now. Like, this is the other thing that guys get stuck on is, well, what about my credit? That's like saying, well, my house is burning down to the fucking ground, and I'm really upset that the fire department is fucking up my prized rose garden, right? Your credit has no value, because if your credit had value, then you'd be able to go online, go on like Facebook Marketplace and go, hey, I'm Jeff. I've got this detailing business. I've got some credit, but I also have $50,000 worth of debt. What are you willing to pay me for my credit? The answer is fucking zero. It's a big fucking donut. It's a goose egg. It is fucking nothing. But this is what the banks and credit card companies do, is they brainwash you with comforting lies, okay? And they convince you that your credit is super important. So keep making these ridiculous minimum monthly payments, which keep you in debt for 70, 80, 100 plus years. I've seen the amortization schedules when I was running my debt settlement business. I've seen people that if they were just making their minimum monthly payments, they would be in debt for 117 fucking years. This is how they get you.
Right.
And then people think in their heads, well, what about my credit? I have to protect my credit. You have no fucking credit. Because if you had something that had some value, you could go on Facebook Marketplace and sell it to other people, but it has no value. So you have to get that, you know, what about my credit thing out of your head, because you don't have any value. Like, it has no value. What you have is a liability.
Okay. Does that matter? I mean, all this debt is under, I guess, business, so it doesn't show up on my personal credit.
Well, if you have a personal guarantee, it'll show up in your personal credit.
I think it does if you end up, I don't know, not paying it. Like it'll eventually hit your credit, but if I like pull a credit report, it doesn't show up on there.
So if you settle your debt, like if you settle your debt today and you pay them, let's say 35 cents on the dollar, you go disperse your payments, you're done. It'll be off your credit bureau in a couple of years. Like you'll get new credit very, very easily within a couple of years.
Okay. All right, man.
Same thing with the bankruptcy too, right? Like bankruptcy doesn't stop you from getting credit once you're discharged.
Gotcha. I mean, I just hopefully would like to buy a house and whatnot in the next couple of years. And
owning houses are overrated, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But
all right, man.
Like get out of the business, figure out what your exit strategy is, and figure out what your next gameplay is going to be. And then, you know, move in that direction. But the thing you got to do is wind down this. I mean, you got a dog. It's a fucking dog. This is like, you know, the guys that like a friend of yours somewhere that has that like retarded dog, like he goes in the backyard and the dog goes in the fucking fridge and gets a tub of margarine and eats it and shits all over the house and barfs everywhere. You've got a retarded dog that you don't want to put down because you love it too much.
Yeah, I totally get that. I've got other buddies in this industry that are feeling the same way and, you know, having the same discussion. So,
all right, man. Good luck with that.
All right. Appreciate everything you do, Rich. Thank you.
No problem. Real quick, guys, I'm gonna do a little bit of a pitch because it's worth doing because it's relevant to what we just talked about. He was bringing up entrepreneurship, and in the ad reel in the middle of the show before we go to the Q&A, I talk about the School of Entrepreneurship, which is the new community course that Moff and I are using. And I've included the School of Entrepreneurship. It's a flagship course that I've sold for anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000, depending on whether or not I include monthly Zoom calls. But the content itself is worth at least $1,000 when I sell it. The value of the content is tens of thousands of dollars, if I'm being honest. I've included it in the School of Entrepreneurship. It unlocks after 10 months of membership. It's like $129 a month. So you're basically paying for the school while you access the other content. The link for the School of Unplugging will be in the description after the show. I'll have to copy and paste it in, or you can just go to school and type in the School of Unplugging. But all the modules that I put in the School of Entrepreneurship that explain how to set up a business, what kind of business is set up, how to deal with everything. Like the mindset, it has 3 parts to it. It's about 3 hours of content when shifting mindset, legal matters, taxes, insurance, ideal types of businesses to run, developing your network, dealing with government and regulators, because in the States, you got the Attorney General and all this other bullshit they're going to throw at you at some point, depending on the kind of business that you run. So it's incredibly important to structure the right kind of business that's a good business, that's profitable and easy to run. Why borrowing money should generally be avoided and when it might be considered, why I generally bootstrap, human resources, acquiring customers, building an audience, what not to do in a business, pivoting a business that might have the opportunity to go in a different direction and become more elf than half, generating business ideas. And I added a few other bonuses that weren't included in the original, along the lines of building a business on YouTube, similar to how I've done. So that's all included in the School of Unplugging. But again, it's a valuable course. So you don't pay $129 monthly and get it in the first month. You get it after 10 months of membership, or if you ascend to the general status, which is a top status for top engagement with all the posts. We've also got all this other shit, all this other stuff on the frickin' school. And we've got our experts, which are doing weekly Zoom calls on dating, on money, finance. We've got 2 guys doing finance stuff on investing and crypto. We've got a guy that's doing Zoom calls on leveling up Instagram, how to build a YouTube channel, resume and LinkedIn building, fitness and nutrition. This guy's a certified strength and nutrition trainer. Another expert we've got in the group that talks about trading, day trading markets and stuff like that. Mofta Zoom calls. And pretty soon in the next month or 2, I'll start doing Zoom calls as well, added to the group to create some extra value. But there's all of these fucking modules over here of awesome stuff that we've put nowhere else on the internet. Because a lot of the conversations we have, like the module that I have in here, for example, on where is it? Long-term spinning plates and long-term relationship. It's like a 3.5-hour version of the talk that I did back in January at my 1% forum. I go right down the rabbit hole on everything, on stuff that you'll never hear me be able to talk about publicly on YouTube, just because that's what YouTube is, man. So listen, if you want all the stuff like I talk about in that ad reel that I wish I knew when I was 20, so that you can avoid making the same mistakes, join the School of Unplugging. It's a very simple system. It's a great fucking app. It works amazing on your phone. You have access to me, Moff, my team of experts, over 30 hours of material, plus the School of Entrepreneurship. It's a fucking steal, guys. Honestly, grab it. And as time goes on, the price will end up going up, as I always do with things, because we keep adding more and more stuff to it. It becomes more and more valuable. All right, we'll do one more here with Kizza, and then I got to bounce. Kizza, you going to talk to me about cars, brother?
Yes, Richard. I've actually got some received by the Tauh. Sorry, am I coming through too loud? Or am I coming through okay?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So, as you see by my Tauh, my 7 cars that I think will appreciate in the future.
Okay.
Okay, first 2 I'm going to say. I'm going to put them together because they're rivals. A Evo 10, specifically one of the top model ones, like a 440, providing it hasn't been wrecked.
The Mitsubishi.
Yeah, Mitsubishi Evo 10.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Or the 20, I believe it's the 2015 STI Impreza, that was the very last gen.
Yeah. But like my calls with the with like the BMWs, you know, for example, like the M Coupe or the M3, they'll probably go up in value, but you won't see significant growth. It might go, let's say the 30,000 in 7 years, it might be worth 50,000. Like it's not going to be massive like we saw with like a V12 Murcielago with a 6-speed going from 200 grand to 1.5.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I say these is because, especially with the Subaru, so many people brought them and have wrecked them. So if you could find one that is collection quality, I think they could skyrocket a lot, because they're like the last generation of a batch of cars. Which,
you won't see them triple and quadruple in value though, but they will go up for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. So the third option, this is technically 2 cars. This one I've seen spike up recently.
Yeah.
Like Magic go up. It's a 550 Maranello.
Yes.
From the mid-late 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. V12 front engine, manual transmission, gates.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And its successor, the 575, if you could find that in a manual, that could go even higher in value, I reckon, because it's a newer model, of course.
I almost bought a 355, a Ferrari 355. I really, really like that car. I think it's one of the prettiest cars ever built.
Definitely.
That's when Pininfarina did the design work for Ferrari, and they made gorgeous cars. I could have bought one for about 65,000 at the time when I was looking at them. They're over 150,000 now. The problem with those fucking cars is you got to take the motor out every 2 years, and it's a $7,000 to $10,000 service every few years. So you're eating into your profit with the maintenance and service.
Yeah, they are a nightmare to service, and also I do know,
and they're not that fast.
Nah, like the early gen ones, so 95 to 90. No, was it 94 to 96? I think it is, or 95, 97.
Yeah,
they actually are more powerful than the later versions, because they had 2 ECUs. Yeah, and also technically it's straight pipe. Okay, so the fourth one I was going to suggest. This is already quite expensive. An Aston Martin DBS.
Oh yeah, dude, I could have bought one of those for 110,000. I could have bought one of those for 110,000. I was looking at it. It was in the Casino Royale colors, like right from the movie.
Yeah.
You can't find one less for 200 grand.
Yeah. But the only issue with like Aston Martins, they are a bit temperamental with reliability. So you do
from
need
what
one
I
that's
understand,
had
those ones aren't too bad. They're not like the 355. The maintenance schedule is not like the 355. It's not even close.
Well, that's true, but that's a mid-90s Ferrari versus a mid-2000s Aston.
2008, 9,
yeah.
Beautiful car too.
Okay.
It's funny.
Oh yeah, definitely. The fifth one, I'm just trying to remember. Oh, I think this will go up a lot. 2006 C6Z06 Corvette.
Yeah, there's a guy here. What's his fucking channel name? The Straight Pipes. I think his name's Yuri. He's got a yellow one that he did some work to. It's got like 750 horsepower. It sounds badass. It's, I mean, if you like plasticky kind of cars, then get one for sure.
Yeah, fiberglass. Those fiberglass ones. Another option. This would be quite hard to get in America, but a last gen, so like late 90s, early 2000s Lotus Esprit V8.
I'm not with you on that one. That one, I'm not with you on. I don't think that one's.
Okay.
I mean, if it's a collector's grade car, you might have an
Yeah.
audience for it, but it's not a poster car like a Ferrari Testarossa or a Lamborghini Countach or a Murcielago or something like that. They just didn't really pine for them. They never really got that much attention. Nice cars. They look cool. Twin turbo V8. Probably hold value at worst though.
Yeah, because they only came in manuals, and also it was the last gen before they got rid of the Esprit.
Yeah.
So it's the very last one, and the last one. Oh, this. I'm just trying to think of a good option here. If you can find these, I mean, this is at the very top end of expense. These haven't really gone up in value, which I'm quite shocked with. Potentially, AMG Mercedes with the 6.2.
Potentially C63 AMG, yeah, maybe.
Before they started doing turbocharged ones.
Yeah.
What's a good example?
You really have to like those cars, though. You really have to like those cars, though. Like, like it's a German muscle car. It's not for me, but I could see the appeal from people that like that stuff.
Yeah, like if you can get your hands on an S63 Black Series.
Okay, now you're talking with the fenders. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That one I
could
see. Yeah. So I was trying to think of cars that are around. Most of them are like under 15 years old.
Yeah.
But I thought of a few outliers in case, because actually I thought of another one. Sorry, 2017 NSX. I think they're going to skyrocket in value because they are very limited production.
I'm going to go with hold. I'm going to go with hold value on that.
Yeah. Because I think now
the thing I don't like about those, a friend of mine has one, is that the interior is just so fucking gay and chintzy. Yeah, it's basically a Civic. I think it's a Civic navigation system, and it's a prior generation. It's not the most recent one. The Japanese are notorious for some reason with being lazy with their fucking MMI systems, like their navigation. And the Germans always have a far better, more modernized one that works. Whereas the Japanese have an old school one that kind of just sucks. And I think it really dates the look of the interior.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think the issue is they try and make something very easy to use.
It's a cool car. It's not the greatest for rallies, though. I'll say this because the trunk is in the back. There's no frunk in the NSX. They have all this electronic shit for the hybrid system under the front hood, under the bonnet. And the problem with the trunk is it's in the back and it's right over the mufflers. So my friend, when he takes his out for rallies and long drives, whatever you put back there, it's fucking hot. Like I think he had his shaving cream can explode because it got too hot.
That wouldn't surprise me. Oh, actually, another one as well, just before I forget. If you can find one, 2005 NSX, the one with the normal headlights, not the pop-up. Yeah. Because especially pre-COVID, they hit sort of rock bottom prices, but now they really started to spike. I think 2019, I think you could pick one up for around $30,000 to $35,000.
Yeah, I was just looking at one. They're a lot more expensive now. I was just looking at one at FAF here in Toronto, so I'll throw it up on the screen so you can see it too.
Sure, appreciate it. Yeah,
this one is. So people ask me about JDM, and I said earlier, I'm not really into it. But here is one that I would look at. This one's cool. This is a cool car. Yeah,
I mean, 90s JDMs I love, but Jesus Christ, the prices have skyrocketed so much.
Sure.
It's also gotten worse because American can now import it.
Can you see that?
All of them. Yeah. That's the pop-up
headlight. So that's the pop-up headlight one. It's got the cool wheels, the upgraded brakes. It's got a supercharger on it, by the way. It's 128,000.
I know it's a lot.
And it's okay. This is a collector grade car. It's got like 16,000 kilometers on it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a 91. That's one of the very first ones that come out.
That's a cool car. Like that's a car that I would buy and stuff in the garage if I'd like enough space and just sit on it. It's a cool car.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, I love 90s JDMs because I grew up with like the Gran Turismo franchise. But problem is now is like trying to find a clean one. Even like for instance a Supra. Like I remember 2010, you could find a non-turbo Supra with a manual for like £3,000.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to find that, you're lucky to find one under 20 grand. And if you want a proper twin turbo, You perhaps heard there was one sold in auction. I think it was in America. It went for $130,000.
Yeah,
and it had like 26,000 kilometers or 26,000 miles.
there
But
you
anyway,
go.
Rich, thanks very much for having me. For everyone, make sure to like, share, and subscribe Rich's channel.
Thank you.
Content. He wants
All
to
right.
get 50,000 subs. Anyway, thank you very much again, Rich.
Thanks.
Take care.
Yeah, we're a step away from 50,000 subs. Again, if you guys want to get access to everything that I wish I knew when I was a young man, including my course on entrepreneurship, the School of Unplugging is where you want to go to. It's a monthly membership. It's very straightforward, $129 a month. You're locked in. The price never goes up on you once you lock in. It's only on the new guys that come in later when the price goes up and more stuff's added. Tons and tons and tons of value. The testimonials are on the About page. You can go read them yourself and check it out. It's awesome stuff. So contemplate that. I'll put that in the description below. I just put it in the live chat. Thanks for watching. Guys, have an amazing day. Let me know what you thought of this cast as we talk about cars for a little bit of a change. I don't know. I figured, what the hell? Why not, right? All right, guys. If you enjoyed that podcast, make sure you visit my website at richcooper.ca to learn more about my courses, my book, The Unplugged Alpha, community, or booking me for private coaching. Also, if you are a Canadian with $15,000 or more of credit card debt and what you are doing right now isn't paying off the balances, then visit totaldebtfreedom.ca and hit get a free quote to see if you qualify to settle your credit card debt for less than you owe today over the next 48 months. Make sure you check out the top